So as we're going to move on to consent calendar, before we begin, we're trying to make sure we have all the speaker cards for those that want to speak, because we're hitting a mark, and I'm trying to gauge, the time frame, and that's going to equate to 2 hours at this point for what we have. If it's 3 minutes. So anyway, what we would appreciate is in the back we have Jennifer and Vicky, who you can give a speaker card to, and then we'll get that up front. So as we go through the consent calendar, it would be very much appreciated if that can be done. Thank you. We'll move on to consent.
All items on the consent calendar are considered routine or implement an earlier council action and may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion unless requested.
Items for some additional information or discussion. Marty. Mike.
I wanted to acknowledge that item 5E is a project of $8.5 million for our sewer project, and I'd like to pull that so that we can hear more about this project and acknowledge the significance of what's going on in our capital improvement program.
Okay, so we don't need a separate vote, but you just so the public can hear and get that. Okay. Are there other items or any items to be pulled? Okay, if not, let's go to item E, and that is a resolution approving the design. And if staff can just give a little, there's Mr. Tan. For the large project that Mr. Medina was talking about, which it totals in a budget of $8,597,682.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. This project is to replace the many aging water and sewer pipelines within the areas bounded by Cemetery Avenue, Huntington Avenue, Taylor Avenue, and Florida Avenue, which we're calling it the Avenues 1-1 and 1-2 area. And this project, again, it will replace about 7,900 feet of water pipeline and 6,000 feet of sewer pipelines. And both water and sewer are being replaced at the same time to minimize the construction impacts to the public. And after the pipelines are constructed, the city will reconstruct the street as well. The project went out to bid back in May and as well as early June. And we had a total of 4 bids. The price ranged from $6.5 million to about $8.7 million, and the lowest bid was received by JMB Construction of it's again, as mentioned, at $6.5 million. And JMB has worked for the city on many other sewer projects, one being the Cemetery Avenue Water and Sewer Replacement Project. They also they're also currently working on the Lomita and Crestmore Pump Station Replacement Project, and they completed the Genevan Sewer Replacement Project as well last year. So this project will likely begin towards the end of this year, once we get all the construction materials, submittals are been reviewed. So there'll be some impacts to all the residents living within the project area. There'll be temporary road closures, there'll be noise, there'll be dust, and there's some temporary service interruptions will be encountered when we switch over the water services, at the residential areas, and in and out, access in and out of these private properties will be impacted. But the city will have a community meeting prior to the construction of the project. We'll send out notifications for the meeting, and we'll have a gathering to determine what the concerns that the residents may have in regards to the construction. So we'll be doing that within the next couple of months or so. So as you mentioned, the cost is about $8.5 million, and it's due to additional costs related to construction support services for the consultant, as well as contingency of about $1 million that's being allocated for this project. Also, please note that many times the city has come to council for these water and sewer main replacement project where we have contracted with the construction management and inspection firms. You can see that it's not part of this project, and the reason why, because the city is planning to do the inspection in-house to try to save more money on this project. So this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Marty.
The first bullet point in the staff report mentions that the regulatory deadlines are for these sewer projects is by 2019. Are we on target, or how many more do we need to do, or where are we with our compliance?
Yeah, so these are not capacity-related projects. Capacity-related projects were very close to completion, except for one, which is Crestwood Sewer Pipeline project, which has been delayed due to some issues with easements with PG&E issues that we were dealing with. But the Crystal Springs Road Sewer Replacement Project was recently completed. The Cemetery Avenue was completed. The Genevieve Sewer Main Replacement was also completed. And San Antonio Sewer Pipeline Project was also part of the Lomita and Crestmore Sewer Pump Station Project, which is currently under construction. So we're pretty much almost done, except for the Crestwood Pipeline Project.
And if I can ask, do we have any assurances from the regulators that we're okay with this delay due to the reasons you stated?
Yes, we've notified, we have an annual report that we have to submit to the baykeepers, and we've notified the schedule on there to let them know, what's going on. So they haven't really come back to the city for additional information.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Through the chair.
Yeah, Michael.
I ask this often, but a few years ago, we eliminated funding for the city maintenance of laterals, and so I'm wondering if there could be an opportunity for residents to take advantage of the ongoing construction to replace laterals if it's required for them, and maybe avoid the additional expense of having to dig up the street and encroachment permits and everything that's required.
Correct. So with that, the city has been sending out letters to the residents prior to construction of this project to let them know what the overall cost for the lateral replacement. But it's part of a bid item that's been included as part of the project. For the Crystal Springs Road project, we replaced 5 sewer laterals along Crystal Springs Road. Not all residents, participate. So we'll be doing the same thing here in this area. We'll send out letters to notify them about, the unit price cost that's been included as part of JMB's contract, and to determine whether they want to participate or not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Any action from council on the consent calendar?
Move to approve. Second.
It's been a motion made and seconded to approve all items on consent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous by voice vote.